welcome back to another one of our assemblies. It's October, can you believe it? So we had September assembly where we were speaking about effective contributors, and today we are speaking about confident individuals, and we'll be speaking about another character in the Bible who was definitely a confident individual. But first, we have another very exciting game as usual, so here is the game. Let's go! So our game today is called Stand Up If, and it's very simple. So all that's going to happen is I'm going to say a statement and you have got to stand up if it's true about you. So I might say, stand up if you like green apples. And so everybody in the room is going to stand up if they like green apples. Everybody who doesn't like green apples have got to say sitting down. Does that make sense? I think it's fairly simple. So let's go. Let's play Stand Up If. So here is the first statement. So stand up if you have blue eyes. So everybody in the room who has got blue eyes, you need to stand up. Everybody else, you need to sit down. I wonder how many people have got blue eyes. I'm thinking there's plenty of people in the room who've got blue eyes. I wonder who it is. Okay, so that's our first one. So everybody sit down again. And here is our next one. So stand up if you have ever broken a bone in your body. I'm thinking there might be some clumsy people who might have to stand up a few times for this one. So stand up if you have broken a bone in your body. Everybody who has not been clumsy, has not broken anything, needs to stay sitting down. Okay, I wonder how many people that is in your classroom. So everybody sit down again, well done. And let's go for the third one. So stand up if you support Aberdeen Football Club. Oh, I think we're going to have like some competition in the room. There might be some people thinking, oh no, I don't support Aberdeen, I'm not standing up. Or there might be some big supporters of Aberdeen, so they're standing up. So I wonder how many people is that in your classroom? Cool, so everybody sit down again. So we are on a statement number 4. So stand up if you have ever owned a pet snake. I'm thinking there might not be many of these people, but there might be some. You never know, there might be some surprise pet snake owners in the room. So if you own a pet snake, stand up. If you don't own a pet snake, sit down. Well done. So everybody should be sitting down again because we are on to statement number 5. So stand up if your birthday is on the 31st day of the month. 31st. So if your birthday is the 31st of something, you should be standing up. Oh, brilliant. So your birthday is way at the end of the month. Okay, so everybody else should be sitting down. And here we are on to statement number 6. So sit down for a minute. So statement 6 is this. Stand up if someone at home has ever had to take in your packed lunch in the middle of the day because you forgot to take it in the morning. You've been rushing about, you forgot your packed lunch, and oh my goodness, somebody at home's had to take it in for you. So if that's you, stand up for a minute. Everybody else who remembers their packed lunch every day can stay seated down. Well done. Okay, so everybody should be sitting down. So here's statement number 7. So this is it. So if you have ever felt like giving up when you're doing a task at school, something really difficult that you're really struggling with, and you aren't managing to do it and you just feel like, oh, I just want to give up. If that is you, then you can stand up for a minute. Everybody else can remain seated, but I'm thinking there'll be a few people standing up in this one. Well done. And so everybody sit down, this is the last one. So statement number 8. If you can speak another language, stand up. This is impressive. I am impressed by you if you can speak another language other than our Doric tongue. Well done. So well done all those people who can speak other languages. Everybody else should be sitting down. And that is our game for today. Well done for playing my game and being honest. Thank you.
Well, I hope you had the confidence to stand during that game when it applied to you. It does take a bit of confidence, doesn't it, to stand up when your friends are around you, to stand up if you like apples, to stand up if you like a certain football team. And today we are speaking all about being confident individuals. And to start with, we're going to a Bible story. We're going to look at the story of Daniel. Daniel was a great man in the Bible. Do you know anything about Daniel? Is there anything comes to mind? Well, I'm not going to tell you about his story, but I'm going to ask you just now to watch the story of Daniel and see where he needed confidence in his life and how he was able to stand up. Here's the story of Daniel.
Stories of the Bible. Daniel in the Lion's Den. This is Daniel.
Oh, hey!
Who was a Jewish man who was taken to Babylon when he was very young.
Yeah.
Daniel loved God and followed God's rules. He talked to God 3 times a day and asked God for help often. Daniel served in the Babylonian king's court for many years
Yeah, I know him.
and under many kings.
Hey, Daniel.
Daniel always proved himself to be more capable than all the other court officials.
Thanks. Well, anytime.
Daniel was serving under King Darius, and because of his great abilities, the king made plans to place him in charge of the entire empire.
Wow, okay.
The other court officials searched for some fault in Daniel, but they couldn't find anything wrong with him. He was faithful, responsible, and completely trustworthy.
Wait.
The court officials realized the only way to get at Daniel would be to challenge his faith.
Come on.
So they went to King Darius
Excuse me, Your Majesty.
and advised him to make a law that for the next 30 days, any person who prays to anyone except King Darius will be thrown into the lion's den.
I like it.
King Darius signed this law, and once a Babylonian king signed a law, it could not be overruled. When Daniel learned of this law, he went home and knelt down, as he always did, to pray in his room with the windows open towards Jerusalem. He prayed 3 times a day, just as he always had done, giving thanks to God and asking for his help. The officials went to Daniel's house and found him praying.
Gotcha.
They went to the king and reminded him of the law.
I remember.
Well,
Then they said that Daniel had been found praying to God 3 times a day.
What?
When the king heard this, he was very upset,
Get over here.
and he spent the whole day trying to think of a way to save Daniel.
wait, what?
By that evening, the court officials came back to the king and reminded him that no law signed by the Babylonian king could be overruled. So at last, the king gave orders for Daniel to be thrown into the lion's den. The king said to him, "May your God, who you serve faithfully, rescue you." Then the lion's den was sealed shut with Daniel inside. The king spent the night fasting and couldn't sleep. Then very early in the morning, the king hurried to the lion's den. He called out,
Hey, Daniel.
"Was your God able to rescue you from the lions?" And Daniel answered, "Long live the king! My God sent his angel to shut the lions' mouths so that they would not hurt me, for I have been found innocent in his sight." The king was overjoyed and ordered that Daniel be taken out of the lion's den. Then the king ordered the men who had schemed against Daniel to be thrown into the lion's den as punishment. Daniel was safe. There was not a scratch on him, for he trusted in God.
So did you see there where Daniel had to stand up? He was a man who had confidence. He was a confident individual. For Daniel, his confidence came from God, and he wanted to make sure that he always did the right thing by God. I can't imagine being Daniel. I do wonder, what would I have done? Would I have had the confidence to stand up, to stick to my beliefs, no matter what the circumstances, what the situation was? Do you know, he faced the lions. Did you know that? He faced the lions, and the Bible tells us that when Daniel was in the lion's den, God kept the lion's mouth shut, and Daniel was safe. His confidence was in God. Do you know what? I believe it's important for us all to have confidence. It's one of the capacities that we speak about in school, isn't it? Being a confident individual. Well, what does it mean to be a confident individual? Do you know, sometimes we look at people and on the outside we can look and think, oh, but they're confident. Oh, but they look really good. They must be confident. I don't believe confidence comes from the outside. I believe confidence is on the inside. So how do we grow confidence? How do we become confident individuals? Well, do you know, for me, confident individuals means that our character has got to be right. We've got to build our character. We've got to be faithful. Daniel was a faithful man. He faithfully served God. He faithfully was somebody that you could rely on. Do you know, if we are faithful people, if we're faithful children, the confidence grows within us because we know we can be relied on. He also was responsible. Do you know, when he was given a responsibility, he didn't walk away from it. Daniel was responsible. He did his job well. And you know, I believe that when we do our job well, when we're responsible, it gives us an inward confidence to know that we are good, that we can do this well. But another thing Daniel had as well was he was trustworthy. The king trusted Daniel. We've got to be trustworthy individuals as well when we're given something, to be able to follow through with it. You know, when I was thinking about this, I was thinking about this balloon. Now, this balloon just now, it's not serving its purpose, is it? But if I blow into it a little bit, well, you see, it's becoming what it was meant to do. So if I blow in a little bit more, that can be a bit like us. When we're going along school, when we do a job well, when we can be relied on, when we can be trustworthy, when we have followed through, it builds confidence within ourselves. We feel good about ourselves. We know that we can do something. We know that we can do a task well. But sometimes when we get things wrong, when we feel disappointed in ourselves, when we feel like we've let people down, when we feel like we've not managed to finish a task, this can happen. And it just takes the air right out of us. Our confidence can just go. And you know something, boys and girls? That happens to us all. But it's so important that we don't give up and we continue to try and build confidence within ourselves. So we go back again. When we're given another task, we try hard. We try and be faithful, people that we can be relied on. We try and make sure that we are responsible whenever we are asked to do a task. We want to be trustworthy, want to be the best we can, want to do what we are asked within a day at school, want to do it well. And I believe that this builds confidence within us. And you know, as confidence builds, we'll feel more settled with ourselves. I'm just going to tie this for a little minute. Do you know, when you're a confident individual, you can, whatever the task, you will give it a try, give it a go. Doesn't mean you're perfect, but it does mean that you have an inner strength. When you're a confident individual, you are able to do the task that you are given. You know, when I was thinking about confident individuals and famous people in Scotland, Andy Murray came to mind. Do you know who Andy Murray is? Anybody? Well, Andy Murray is a tennis player. I really admire Andy Murray. Tennis is one of the sports that I really enjoy watching. And I've actually seen Andy Murray playing live down in the O2. And it was remarkable to see him playing. For 3 hours, he had confidence in his ability. He had confidence in his skill. He had confidence to stay in the match even when he was at match point and he just about lost the match. And you know, after 3 hours, Andy Murray won the game that I was watching. I was on the edge of my seat. It wasn't easy. But do you know something? He had the confidence to see it through. He didn't know if he would win the match. He didn't know if he would remain the #1 tennis player at that time. But pressing on, remaining confident, he managed to see it through and he won that match. Do you know, Andy Murray is a world-class tennis player, not because he's practiced for 5 minutes, but because for years and years he sowed into his skill and his talents. He practiced, he spent hours training, he did what the professionals told him to do, he watched his diet, he made sure he was disciplined, but all this built confidence in him, and he is a confident individual who is very good at his sport. But he is faithful, he turns up, he is reliable, he does what needs to be done, and he is trustworthy, and he never walks off the court in a strop. Do you know something, boys and girls? We can learn so much from people like Daniel in the Bible, who did an amazing job having the confidence to stand up and to follow through. We can learn from Andy Murray, who has achieved so much in tennis because he's a confident individual. But my question to you is this today: where is your confidence? Now, I know that you're in primary school and your confidence is growing all the time. Are you like this, where you're a confident individual and you tackle things, or are you a bit deflated? You try hard for a bit, you're doing your best, and then your confidence goes because something happens. I want to tell you this: never give up. Keep trying your best. You can do it. Confidence comes from the inside. You just need to stay the course. Keep doing what you're asked to do. Keep trying your best. Be faithful, be responsible, and be trustworthy. And when you know that you have these characteristics inside you, you will be the best version of you can be. When you're the best version of you, you won't feel like you failed, and that builds confidence. Boys and girls, I hope this year that your confidence will grow and that you will be the very best that you can be.
Well, that's it for our assembly today. Thank you so much for joining us. It's been lovely to have you, and we hope that you have an amazing October holiday, and we will see you again in November. Bye!